First question comes from Ian. He sends us a reply on Twitter, and his question is, if you were to pick one of these guys for the Mariners, Gleyber Torres or Hyeseong Kim?
Man, tough call if you've listened to any of my takes about Hyeseong Kim. Yeah, it's Gleyber Torres. I'll say it again. I'll beat it into the ground. I'll say it a million times. I don't care. Hyeseong Kim is a double-A bat. That's what Korea is. That's what the KBO is. And when you have guys like Jung-Hoo Lee, who had a 900 OPS in the KBO, come over and struggle, granted in a shortened season because he got injured, it's not a vote of confidence in other KBO bats coming over here and having success, and certainly not immediate success. Do I think Hyeseong Kim's even going to be a 100 WRC plus hitter, especially in year 1 or 2? No, I don't. I think he's going to be below that. So if that's the case, I have no interest in the Mariners spending any real money on him, even if he's supposed to be a really good defender. Gleyber Torres has been there, done that. I'm not saying he's a superstar the way he was projected to be when he was a prospect. He's a good player. At his best, he can be a 115, 120 WRC plus hitter and be a 2-hitter in your lineup, be a 6-hitter in your lineup. He'd be a valuable piece if you get peak Gleyber Torres. So if I had to pick between the two, yeah, it's Gleyber Torres.
Gleyber struggled a bit on both offense and defense this past year, but even if you go back to 2023, he had a 120 WRC plus at the major league level. Hyeseong Kim this past year in 2024 had a 118 WRC plus in the KBO. I think that answers that question. Gleyber sucks on defense. That's absolutely true. He's not a perfect offensive player. He might be a little bit of a Yankee Stadium merchant. If he came to Seattle, probably wouldn't have as much power as he would have in New York. But you know what? Even at the price, given what the Mariners need, got to do what you got to do at this point. It's a really, really easy decision for me. Gleyber Torres, please and thank you. His contract, I will say, the projections I've seen for Gleyber is a little high. It's a lot of money.
Read it out.
It's $18 million a year for at least 5. It's a lot.
I don't think that's happening.
Obviously not. But it's crazy to see Gleyber Torres getting $100+ million.
I don't think that's going to happen, especially because Anthony Santander might not even get $100 million. We'll see. And Gleyber's just, like you said, he's not a great defender. I know people might argue, well, Santander doesn't play much defense. Well, neither does Gleyber Torres. He plays one position, and he doesn't play it all that well. But I would take the odds of Perry Hill working with Gleyber Torres at second base and taking his bat, rather than having somebody who can play some good defense and Hyeseong Kim that might be an 85 WRC plus hitter in the big leagues.
Yeah, Hyeseong Kim could be might just be Josh Rojas.
That's who I think he is Josh Rojas, which if that's the case, you need an upgraded offense. So go get Gleyber.
Right.
Okay. Let's get to our second question here. I want to make sure I get the name
Speaking
right.
Speaking of Josh Rojas.
Yeah, speaking of Josh Rojas. Jeremy sent us a question. This was also on Twitter. He said, why is the second best WAR third baseman a free agent and not a Mariner? He puts in parentheses 2.9, which is this player's projected WAR online for 2025. He says, oh yeah, and he would be the third best WAR at second base of guys on the free agent market. Now, he didn't list the name. We are assuming here he's talking about Josh Rojas. So if we get it wrong, Jeremy, you can let us know. We apologize, but we are assuming you are talking about Josh Rojas. So that is the question.
And because Josh Rojas was a Mariner entering the offseason and then they non-tendered him. And that makes the most sense. Here's why Josh Rojas is not a Mariner, because from May 15th to the end of the season, he had a 67 WRC plus. That is exactly why. Which, by the way, is 28 percentage points below the league average third baseman when it comes to offense. The offense at third base is down across the league. And yet Josh Rojas went way under that. They just literally, look at the Mariners infield. They need offensive production somewhere on that infield. And Josh Rojas wasn't exactly setting the bar that high to make it feel like even with his really good defense, he needs to be on this roster next season. At first base, it's a question mark. You have a maybe at first base in Luke Raley next year. That's about it. At second base, you have a question mark. At shortstop, J.P. Crawford's coming off the worst season of his career. You're hoping for a bounce back, but J.P. might just be a 100 to 105 WRC plus at shortstop. That's not going to solve all your offensive issues on your infield. So then you pivot and you look at third base. And if Josh Rojas, for what's essentially 2/3 of the season, is going to be not even a major league hitter, really, then you have to try something else. Because you can always find defense at third. But you need to score runs.
That 67 WRC plus comes out to a 555 OPS. Just isn't going to cut it. Third base is supposed to be a premier offensive position, even if the position is down offensively these days. You can't have that. You just can't. So this is why I keep bringing up Kobe Mayo for third base. He's not proven. I get it. But what do you want to do at third base? Yes, would we love to sign Alex Bregman? Of course. And for those of you in the comments that are now going to reply and say, I don't want him. He was an Astro. He was a cheater. No. Go, refresh, reevaluate, and come back another time if that's your take, because you would love to.
Do you want good morals, or do you want to win?
Even still, hasn't this come and gone by now? All the trash can stuff?
Yes, you're right. Yes, it has. And morals, I'll put morals in air quotes.
Alex Bregman would help this clubhouse and team a ton. I'm not even talking about his on-field play. I'm talking about what he'd do in the clubhouse. I think he'd set a standard for a lot of guys and could elevate a lot of guys on this team. And it doesn't even speak to what he does on the field, of course. Anyway, we're wasting our breath on that because that's not happening. Mariners aren't signing Alex Bregman. So that leaves who? Alec Boehm, who the Mariners have asked about, but we're told you'd have to give up. Geez, I'm laughing so hard that I'm drooling over here. You'd have to give up George Kirby or Logan Gilbert, or sorry, that was the offer. And the Mariners were like, well, yeah, we're obviously not doing that. So when you get past those two guys, then who? To Jeremy's point in this question, Josh Rojas is listed as the second best third baseman in free agency in terms of WAR. There's not a lot of great options out there. So I get Kobe Mayo's unproven, but that's why I keep circling his name in terms of, well, that's somebody that could be here a long time and be really good if it all clicks. So yeah, you just can't bring Rojas back under most circumstances. Maybe if you find a solidified third baseman and you decide you really want him as a bench utility infielder, all right, but not to be your everyday third baseman.
And he could still come back and play some third, but I think the big thing is they don't want him playing at $4 million, which was his projected number. Think about this. If Josh Rojas had been tendered this offseason, the Mariners' offseason budget right now would be $11 million because of Josh Rojas. $11 million.
Good Lord. But hey, they're going to go sign generational players.
Their words, not ours.
Their words.